we all have things buried deep.
For some of us, it's intentional. For others, it could be a survival tactic.
But in order for you to heal and grow into your purpose,
Into who you were truly meant to be, sometimes you gotta have those uncomfortable conversations.
man, it's time we
Yeah,
unpacked.
man, so here we go, bro.
Welcome. Another episode of Unpacked. I am Aaron Eason, aka Mr. Always Good, Never Bad.
And I'm Greg Figueroa, aka Felony Fit.
And we are here to unpack some stuff today.
Yeah, man.
Yo, Greg, what is going on, man?
Hey,
What
let me
is
ask you a
going on?
question, bro. Like, when are you honest with yourself enough to realize that certain relationships, like, you just gotta call it, like, certain relationships, just like they run their course and they're done? The reason I ask that is because the other night, something happened that, out of the blue. You remember I called you the other morning?
Yeah.
You was working. You couldn't really talk to me what I had to talk to you about. But check this out. The other night, a friend of mine, and I don't even know if I would classify this person as a friend after all this time.
I mean, you
Right?
got your number.
I mean, he got my number, but for whatever reason, we've talked about the benefits of social media when we've been up here before, and how you can connect with people from your past and how it can be beneficial.
Copy.
So in this instance, it was beneficial. A friend of mine from high school reached out to me some months ago. We reconnected. It was good to hear from him. He was a fellow athlete, one of my teammates on the basketball team. Good time, always fun. Good dude, come from a good family and everything. So we reconnected for a second, and that was the end of it. From there, it's just been basic Instagram interaction. A like of a post here, comment
Comments
there,
here.
nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
I know the feeling.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now, fast forward to the other night, 12 o'clock at night, my phone rings.
Okay.
Now we've been transparent with each other. We've been transparent with our audience members. Like, the detriment that a phone could bring in a relationship, in a household. Now, your phone ringing with some random number at 12:30 at night is not a good look, no matter what.
Not for us type of guys.
Not
with our history.
Not giving the history, and
Yeah.
like, I've traumatized my wife in a lot of ways in terms of, in shit like that. So, like, in trying to build and regain that situation, like, a random phone number, like, it sends fucking.
You got to go through that stage first, like, just the fact that the
because
phone call was
it's
made.
PTSD, no matter how you look at it. So anyway, phone rings.
Yeah.
This guy that I literally haven't set eyes on physically in 20 plus years. I
Wow.
graduated high school 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. So physically, I haven't set eyes on this guy in person in over 20 years. But we reconnected on social media, and he reached out to me in a time of need, like dire need, apparently. He was stranded somewhere. He called me randomly after 20 some odd years and asked me if I could cash app him money to get gas for his car. So now, like, I mean, obviously that posed a dilemma for me in that moment, and I responded the
Why?
way. Well, it posed a dilemma because, like, how can you be everything for everybody if you're still on your personal walk? Like to send $50 or $100 to somebody while I'm laying next to the person that goes through this struggle with me and fights these bills with me and takes on responsibilities with me, and knowing what we have on our plate,
Sacrificially, yeah.
but to still be the kind of person, because it's almost, in some twisted way, it's an honor that somebody would call you in that moment.
I get that. I
You know
do.
what I'm saying? Like, because you ain't calling everybody in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could go through my phone's about to die, I'm in a moment of need, I'm not calling just anybody out that phone book.
Copy.
You know what I'm saying? So, on one hand, I'm humbled. But on the other hand, it's like, how do you overextend yourself or know the length to which you should extend yourself when you're still on your personal journey? Like, you're still on your personal walk. Like, you can't afford to give, but the clash of who we're trying to become added to that who we were raised to be in terms of faith and what and what the Bible tells us and what faith tells us, like the fact that we don't know how God will show himself and how he will appear to us in a time of need. So, we try to be
Trying
ready
to be
for that.
obedient in the
You try to
situation.
be obedient and you try to be ready for
But
that.
see, here's the thing. Because, like, on one hand, I grew up hearing no all the time, or I don't know. So, like, the answers that I was always looking for, like, when I went to someone for something,
You were
never,
expecting no.
no. Well, after a while, yeah, but also I never got help.
Right.
So I had this thing that I have a savior effect, that whenever someone wants something or whenever someone needs me, I start to be the guy that makes sure something's taken care of.
Right.
Because I feel like I can't
You
leave
never
nobody
had
hanging.
that guy.
Because I don't
Yeah.
like being the guy that is hanging. I didn't like it.
Right.
But then I started to experience that. I had friends that weren't in my situation.
So
weren't
so they don't-
struggling for
right.
real.
So they don't understand.
But they weren't figuring it out. So they were coming to me trying to, I don't know, because I had my stuff together from outside looking in, but in reality, I got my challenges. I got things I'm going through.
Well, you got the contents of your bag.
Yeah.
The bag is a Louis Vuitton. The bag is a Gucci. It looks good on the outside.
Facts, but I got shit
And
going
on the
on.
inside, yeah.
And I just deal with it my way. But when after a while, I had to start saying, I was enabling people when I was helping them out, because I was the person you came to after a while all the time.
Right.
And I didn't know that I was helping you.
But there has to be a vetting process there, right? Because it has to depend on what they're coming to you for.
It's usually
and
money.
the
It's usually money, because if it's not money,
right.
then I probably would extend my time. I would
Right.
have a conversation.
Right.
I'd give I if you pull me up, you tell me you need my help, I'll give my energy out like that. It's when it's money, it's when it's the thing that I have the hardest thing to control on the income, because I've never had a stable income since I was 18.
Right.
That's something that it takes a lot for me to be obedient to give up. But I think about it often, because outside of being honored, I also have this principle: asking you shall receive. And that principle comes from,
I don't think I thought about it until now, but you have to imagine the amount of humility that it takes to even ask that question.
That depends on who you talk about, because I have a family member. I don't even want to put him on blast, because one day he's gonna be able to see this. And I had a conversation with him. I was like, yo, bro, you gotta stop calling me and making up stories. Because when you're behind the wall,
oh yeah,
you gotta figure out how to get money from everyone you can. And I love my brother to death.
Right.
But I was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna help you.
Right.
Coming to me with your stories so I can then feel empathetic enough to, is not gonna change the fact that I'm gonna help you. I know my stance and your stance. So you don't gotta give me, you don't gotta shake me up to make me feel like,
bro, still behind the wall though.
Right.
Yeah, but nah, give son a pass.
No. But I needed him to understand. No, because before he was behind the wall, he was still that guy. That's the problem. And I need him to change now, because he's older, bro. And he can't have this, like, you gotta get out
expectation.
You gotta change the mentality.
Okay.
Like ask and you shall receive. Just ask. Like creating a scenario for yourself to feel comfortable, because that's what he's also doing. He's creating his own humility.
Right.
Like coming up with a story. I'll feel better doing it this way.
I would feel bad for somebody in this situation.
And I feel better doing it this way, so I can ask, instead of just being like the person that's always hands out. It's like, yo, bro, you ain't got no choice.
Right.
If you're going to ask, you have to have your hands out here, because there's nothing you could do for me.
Right.
But love me on the inside and pray for me. That's it.
But I think that, and I'm.
Yeah, I took it another way.
Just to shoot the big homie some bail for a second, because I've been there, and I do know that you play unintentionally sometimes on the empathies of your loved ones when you're in that moment, because you also take heed to the fact that out here
we have to take care of it.
No, the world is happening.
Yeah.
So I know that right now on this phone call, I'm asking you to send me $50. But I know that when this phone hangs up, you got your wife, you got your mortgage, you got your phone bill, you got your car note, you're gonna forget about that 50. So when you're behind that wall, you kind of paint the picture to your loved ones, because it is that dire, but you don't want to sound like a person in dire straits, but it is really that difficult if you're in a situation where you can't provide for yourself and you're only given or allotted a certain amount that you have to work within, but it's not really a humane
No,
portion.
I know. All right,
You
so
know what I'm
here's the thing.
saying?
I've
So
been doing 10, I did 10 plus with him.
right.
I've
Just
been
give him
that.
a pass.
No. I've been faithful,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
I'm coaching him on how to deal with his family members, like the ones that don't say no
That
anyway.
don't right. Okay.
Like and I told him so to not go too deep into this. When you get the call, because the other day I helped out a dude I didn't even know. I don't know that dude. Remember the day I popped out with a young man?
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Facts,
him.
facts.
I gave him the same amount of money I give my brother on a weekly or monthly basis.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I no longer speak to this man because he's MIA. But I think that when I'm called, like you feel it. When you gotta question it and you're not the type of person that likes to question it, that's when you're not supposed to.
Facts.
And I think that's how I deal with
I
it.
agree with that wholeheartedly. And I mean, I think that I naturally have a given spirit, and I think people know that, and I think it radiates. It comes from you, even if you don't say it to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think God will thrust you into situations where you kind of have to live up to that. You know what I'm saying? Where he expects that of you. In other words, he'll put people in your path, not because you can learn something from them, but because you can push them along further on their journey and you can provide something for them.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like we always look at things and we wonder like, what meaning did this person have on my life? Or what experience what did this do to my life?
No, it's
But
also
like,
who you're becoming.
But no, well, it's who you're becoming, but we never really stop and flip it around and say like, what effect am I having
On the world.
someone else?
Yeah, on the world, essentially.
Because
yeah.
I gotta think, and this is why I said it kind of provided some humility in like my first and foremost. Let me preface by saying I sent him the money.
I was about to ask you, did you send him the money?
I sent him the money, but with a little reluctance, and with I would say my wife nudging me in the direction to do what I was already going to do anyway. But I do like to put that wall up because I do want to be that person that could say fuck you to somebody else because I know that that person has said fuck you to me before, proverbially not the same person. I'm saying just
Okay.
like, just
Meaning like when you made that phone call.
there's been times when I've been in need.
Yeah, but see,
people haven't either picked up the phone, they haven't been present, they haven't been willing, they haven't been, or maybe
is that your initial feeling sometimes?
It was
honestly,
it was my feeling at the time.
And was that because of how you were feeling in the moment, like how shit was happening, like shit is real right now?
It registered to me that quickly. And the thing is this: I'm not in those moments. You will never see me. You like if you physically saw it unfold, you wouldn't see the hesitation. My wife knows me on that level, and I speak to and communicate with her on that level where she understands my apprehension in that moment. But she knows what I would do in that moment and what I'm going to do in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
So since we talk about this, hold on. So like you made the decision,
right.
But you didn't get to deal with all those thoughts at that point.
And this is where it really got to me to the point where I called you.
So like when you called me, right? And you're in the process of unpacking and you're calling me and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm in the middle of the session, which is what you do all the time. You don't text me. Nigga don't text me ever. He just calls me. And it's like, I do the same thing too. And I always assume you're available,
right,
but you never text me. So it's like, damn, I know he's not calling me just to shoot the shit. He's calling me because he has to talk about something.
Yes,
whether it's about this or that.
I just need a perspective.
Always.
I need
so I'm like, damn, bro, I'm going to call you right after my session, which never really is going to help sometimes in the moment, but I'm going to call you when I call you. So I hit you with the sex and I'm like, wondering when you couldn't talk to me, because I guess because when you got on the phone with me for 2 seconds and I told you I was in a session, I heard your thought process.
And my energy,
like you were all over the place.
Yeah, I was.
So how did you get to the point where you unpack? You were either unpacking it or finally unpacked what you experienced and how you are going to deal with this version of yourself that you either didn't like or don't know how to be on a
And-
consistent basis?
Well, I think it just came. I had to sit still for a moment. Like as I was driving, when I say sit still, I mean I just had to like be silent for a second and just evaluate how things took place, like the timeline and the breakdown, how they took place. Now, in that moment that I called you, like I said, I had already reacted by giving him what he needed in the moment. And sometimes I get mad at myself for like, I feel like maybe I missed the blessing that God has intended for me just for feeling the way I feel about it. It's like, yeah, you did it, but you did it with apprehension. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
and
I see
maybe
what
and,
you-
and maybe you know God does kind of frown on that. But I had to be still in that moment because I had to evaluate a lot of different things. And
Okay.
it was a quick mental deduction, but it felt like it took forever. It was exhausting because you had to kind of evaluate, like I said before, like what impact I may have had I may have had an impact that was so deep and so vast in this person's life 20 years ago that he felt after he reconnected with me for 10 minutes that he could extend himself in a time of need to me. And that's something that's humbling. But then I had to also look at things and say in practicality, like $50 shot for somebody who is on workman's comp, who's not seeing the income that he used to have, and who still has the same amount of bills and responsibilities, that's still a $50 shot. So that's the practical point of view. So I had to look at several different sides of it, and I had to kind of absolve myself of some guilt there because I felt guilty for being frustrated with having to make a choice to help someone else. Like, and I know that's kind of deep and it's kind of
Nah,
like,
it's not. Remember when I said I had an issue with the process of taking care of something with my ex,
right.
and I handled it the right way, but I
Oh, you
hated
didn't want,
you
yeah.
couldn't surrender yourself to the idea that you were doing the right thing. This is a version of you that you're turning into, but you don't know how to fully be it yet.
I think what threw a wrench in the growth that I've already done and what kind of made me take another step back and another look
Uh-huh.
is the closeness or the proximity that used to exist between me and that person. Whereas check this out. It's 10 times easier for me to help a stranger. For me to help a stranger. Like when I tell you, this gentleman called me and asked me for shorts. For shorts. I'll tell you a story that happened last year Thanksgiving, or 2 Thanksgivings ago. My wife and I were in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. We stopped at a Circle K that was close
I'm
to.
sorry, what the fuck is a Circle K? I'm sorry, what is a Circle K?
Circle K is much like a Wawa,
Yeah,
like a 7-Eleven, but it's in
don't
the
talk to
South.
the audience like
Well, nah, it's
a
people.
Circle K.
Well,
A
people.
Walmart, like
people. People from the South, people who have been to the South, they know what a Circle
Oh,
K
so
is.
you stopped at Circle K.
So either way, we stopped at the Circle K, and my wife ran in for whatever. Lord knows, I was probably asking for something. I don't know, some snacks or something, some munchies or something to take back to the hotel, whatever the case was. And I saw a young kid, like a baby, like a toddler, you know, 4 or 5 maybe, and a mother. But then there was a guy off to the side. You know, I didn't really see what that guy was doing, but I didn't know they were together until everything kind of unfolded. And I guess my wife experienced him walking into the store asking her for money. You know, the type of person she is, she provided him money when she came out. She came to the car, but while she's coming back to the car, I'm still noticing this young woman and this child. So when I saw the gentleman walk back to the young woman and the child, put 2 and 2 together immediately before she sat down in the car, kind of deducted what was happening here. So I rolled the window down and I asked this gentleman, I said, yo, bro, mind if I bother you for a second? He came over to the car. I said, yo, are y'all staying outside tonight? Like, do y'all not have nowhere to be? And just like that, without hesitation, my wife and I spent money on a hotel room, on an Uber to get them to the hotel room. Like just like that, like without hesitation. But it was the guilt that I experienced the other day was because I was quick to extend myself to a stranger, but not
Not so
even to
much someone you know.
somebody that was a friend that was estranged. Not so much for a friend that was estranged.
I'm gonna tell you what might happen in those moments. I think sometimes we think we're beginning to take advantage of because people have access to us.
Right.
Um,
Because that definitely crossed my mind. Definitely.
well,
100%.
that's what I know happens
But
to
after
me.
the fact,
To
though,
me,
I'll
with a
say.
lot of people, um, I also see. I'm not always approachable, so not for a lot of people. I'm sometimes intimidating, so that helps me not get random questions from people at least that I know
Right.
that I don't have to like feel that way about
I'm
it.
only intimidating to people. I'm only intimidating to people until they speak to me.
Yeah, nah, this we know. But
Because,
like I feel like
like,
you're right. I'm the same way. I walk around with a certain amount of money just to bless people. And it's because of that principle. When I was and I mean I feel like we going in on this, but when I was young, I was like 14 years old. I never asked for anything from anyone else besides my mom because like that's who I felt like, that's who I get to ask whatever I want
yeah,
from.
she's your
But I don't
provider.
trust nobody else
She's
with
your
the
champion.
vulnerability of knowing that I need something from them. That's how prideful I was as a kid.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But then I had a mentor come 14 years old. You know, long story short, I got kicked out of school, um, get expelled. I have to move in with my mentor for a few months because my mom can't, she don't want me home alone the whole time.
Right.
And, you know, this dude's he's like when it comes to character, he had everything I wanted in a man as a man like that. His character was sharp. He had a principle for everything, a scripture for everything.
Right.
So like that stuff that you see me doing, that sitting down talking, that's what I got from him. I used to sit down on the couch and he used to just spit to me.
Yeah, just drop.
Literally drop gems.
Yeah. Facts.
So one of the things that stuck with me, because he passed away, what, 15, 16? Oh man, I don't even know. I was getting divorced that year. It's a tough year.
Yeah.
I don't like that year.
Yeah.
I don't remember the year. Anyway, one of the things that stuck with me is how every time I called him, I know he ain't have it like that.
Right. But he
He
was,
always blessed me.
yeah,
And he
he
said,
was
don't ever
always
ask to
blessed the
borrow
occasion.
anything from me.
Right. Because it's not a borrow.
Ask me for what you want
Right.
and you'll get it.
Right.
Not so much me, but like asking you shall receive. So if you ever, you know me, when I go anywhere, I'm asking for free stuff all the time. Everywhere I go. Because I believe in the rule of closed mouth don't get fed. And
Right.
blessings come from people that put the energy out there.
Yeah.
So I walk
worst
around.
a person could say is no. I say that a lot.
Right.
Worst
So
they
like,
can say is no.
Like, and honestly, if
know?
you ever chill with me, dated me, you know the type of person I am. I'm asking for free shit all the time just because. And 9 times out of 10, I get blessed with some free shit.
Like you say, you put that energy out there,
and
it'll come back to you.
Yeah, it ain't a broke dude thing. It's a, I just love to see what I can get.
Man, let me tell you something. The richest people in the world get shit for free.
Always.
They are the only ones that get everything for free.
So
they got all the money to spend.
To that point, I started walking around with $2 bills.
I remember you told me that before.
I just bless people with them. I run out of $2 bills now because I come to the city a lot now, and I've never had that feeling that I've never done what you did, but that feeling of looking at homeless people now and feeling the human now, seeing the human, I feel it now because these stages we in now as men,
facts,
understanding like where we want to be, but how real life is getting.
Well, I mean, let me just we struggle. We always talk about branching off, but just to illustrate, I was working on a building on 57th Street, and it's the tallest residential building in the world, 108 floors, 108 stories. But it's right across the street from 220 Central Park South, which is the most expensive residential real estate in the world. Penthouse in that building sold for $380 million. So now, one day, and this is like around the time that I met you, but around the time I first met you, working out with Ronnie and Signature and shit like that. So I didn't know I was on this particular journey, becoming a certain person. I didn't know I was starting to notice the humanity in things and stuff like that.
Mm,
But what I had a real problem with was everybody describing the amount of money that it costs to live in this building and the amount of people that slept on the sidewalk in front of it. And no one seeming to have a problem with that.
mm.
Like, we're talking about the amount of money that someone spent to
Trust me,
live in a building.
I know.
And then there are people sleeping on the ground in the snow in front of that building. Like, that reality started to really, like, that at that very moment, the homelessness problem in this city became something that I am personally afflicted by. Like, I personally am disgusted with it, and every chance I get, I try to shed some humanity on those people, because you don't, like, what we do here is predicated on mental health.
Yeah.
And what people don't take a close enough look at, a lot of advocates talk about it, but not enough people. Like, people advocate for it, but not enough people like give a fuck about
Yeah,
people's
they're not,
advocacy.
yeah, not, like
You
they're
know
not
what I'm
on the
saying?
ground with it. Like, for
Yeah,
real.
like, you gotta
It's just a
really be here to
conversation,
understand that these
an
people
empathetic
don't
thing.
want to be in
Nah,
that situation.
nah. This is with the year where I started to feel these people and I started to see these people. I started to want to, like, and I run out of bread all the time. Because, like, when I tell you, everywhere I go, I notice it more and more. LA, Houston, like every city I go to, like, it's just like, and I've never been so observant in my life and feeling human,
Yeah.
that human, like it's just weird how now in my space of growth, I'm seeing them differently. You know what I'm saying? I've always, you know what I mean? We've always,
Not only seeing them differently, but wondering how you can help, but also identifying the
Mhm.
situation as it unfolds and being able to remember and put yourself back in a place
Yep.
where you were there or
Maintaining,
something similar.
Yep. So
And
it's
being
exactly why
like,
I'm able to see them like
because and it's kind of like what I said to you about Big Bro in the beginning of the show, is because, like, I can remember so vividly what some of my experiences have done to me.
that. Mm.
But then, as per the premise of the show, there are some things that my past have done to me that I don't even realize yet, because I've compartmentalized them and I've put them so far at the bottom of this bag, and I've accumulated so much extra shit on top of them that I've never even gotten down to that level to even remember that I put that shit there.
Yo, since you bring that up, in your relationship with wifey, how do you know that it's strong enough to, like, remain intact throughout the process of you unpacking your shit? Because let's be real, I know you, my nigga. There's a lot of shit.
Tell you something.
There's a lot of, like, and I know you're like, you're a stand-up guy, you're a great man. How do you know your relationship is strong enough to stay intact through the process? Because I know you're now unpacking your shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you initially, the only way I can answer that is by saying, before you and I put a label on what we would do here and create a podcast and have the conversations that we even had, before we even knew each other, she was encouraging me to unpack. And if she was here right now, she would laugh at me saying, because I used to say to her, don't shrink me, Francesca. Stop trying to shrink me, Francesca. She would always want to know, like, why are you feeling like this? What happened? What's wrong with you? What's the matter?
Ooh.
And that shit used to irk me to a point where, because for several reasons, because I never had anyone give a fuck.
Okay.
Never had anyone give a fuck.
Okay.
And especially not give a fuck to the point where you're being overbearing with asking me why I feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, because usually when people don't give a shit, they'll ask you because they feel like they should in that moment. They're thrust into an uncomfortable situation where someone's going through something in a room, and then they say, like, oh, well, damn, is there something I could do for you? Like, bro, what's up, bro? Are you okay? But they don't give a fuck. And they can't wait to get out of that room so they could stop feeling uncomfortable. But I'm confident that my relationship could stand the test of time because she encouraged that unpacking shit. So like if you encourage someone to unpack, that means that you've already made the decision that you're there to withstand the whirlwind of whatever might come out of this bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now as I start to identify shit that I didn't
It's
even
rare.
know was going on, I didn't even know certain shit was going on in me. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like you come out of prison and you dealing with certain shit, like you dealing with lust, you dealing with certain shit, and you're not understanding that this shit is poisonous to your psyche, to your character, to your integrity, to everything that you
Facts.
are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But you acting on it because you think it's behavior becoming of an alpha male, or this is what you supposed to do because you was locked up for so long. You know what I'm saying? But really, those actions, every action is a reaction at this point in time. 39 years old. Most of the actions that we find ourselves in are reactions, are simply reactions to things we've already set in motion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So she was encouraging me to unpack like some of the scarring, some of the.
So you let down, like
I had to let down my
your
walls,
guard, and
yeah,
your
let the
boundaries
guard down
changed a
and
little bit.
become vulnerable.
So you would say that you were creating an open and assertive communication for your relationship, because if you think about it,
I say she created that. I didn't create
well,
it.
you eventually had to hop on board.
I fed into it, and I bought into the idea of what it could do for me as far as healing, and what it could do for me as far as being
That's unpacking
peaceful
a version of you in itself, right?
peaceful in your house. When you're peaceful in your household, like we go at it, my wife and I, we go at it, and there's times that we go at it like any other relationship. But having peace in the household, like I think that we've established a place where 24 hours out of maybe 6.5 fucking days, it's peaceful. You know what I'm saying? 24 hours out of maybe 6.5 days out of a week, it's peaceful. Like we go through our shit. But I think having that safe space that we always talk about figuratively, but having that safe space literally in a physical environment where you can go somewhere and you don't have to wear a fucking mask or a cape or a fucking facade and pretend to be someone else, but there still be someone else there. You know what I'm saying? In most moments, you can only do that when you're by yourself. But that's not healthy to do those things by yourself.
Yeah, because you don't really
But
know
when it's the
who you are
healthiest is
until
when you can be somewhere
with someone
with
else.
someone and you can actually lean on them for strength in those moments.
Look forward to it, because I'm
It'll
starting to
happen.
realize
It'll happen if you it'll happen
such
if
a
you
passive statement.
nah, but it'll happen
in
if
its
you
time.
nah, it's not
Don't-
about in its
don't-
time. It's not about in its time, and I'm not even that nigga. What I'm saying is it'll happen when you start to
See, but that's
allow certain shit, that allow certain people to act. We shut shit down as men. We shut shit down. So you gotta allow certain people to ask certain questions. You gotta understand, because at the stage that I was at prior to being in the relationship that I'm in, you don't allow just anyone to ask questions.
Yeah, you don't allow anyone in that space.
Exactly. So once you allow someone just the leeway to begin to ask those questions, to chip away at that surface, you'll find yourself in a position where you start to recognize qualities about this person that you can either build upon, or that you feel will detract from who you are and who you're trying to be.
So what I've learned is I need to find someone that's
process.
not like me a lot of times, because I need to learn from them. And
you can still learn from someone who's like you, but they can't be headstrong in the same things you're headstrong in.
We're talking about like me in the sense where, like, the issues I have, we have the same. I don't want to go through my unpacking journey with someone that I can't learn from, because we're on. I just have a feeling that I need a softer energy, because I'm a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? I need a patient energy. I need a more mature energy. And that's just an idea of what I think I need. It might come in a different package. It might look different when I
But
get
now,
it. But
but if it
but
comes in a different package, and this is the challenge because you have to first enact a mind state that allows you to even if it's using foresight to kind of just see someone in a certain light so that you can start to bear certain things about yourself.
but see, what I've realized is over the course of the years, I'm starting to realize that yeah, I suck at relationships, bro. Like in the past, I feel like I've sucked at relationships. And I've wanted something from a woman when she sees me. Like, cause I used to travel a lot. So if I come through the airport, I come out to the car, she's picking me up. She hops out, she jumps in my arms, overzealous of infatuation and love and feeling
Affection, not infatuation.
but I want that level of love to feel like infatuation, bro.
Yeah.
I want her to want me so like I'm that nigga. I feel
Well, that could exist, but you don't want infatuation.
all right, maybe. Maybe it's such a
It's
good
just
deep love.
when it's real, that affection
Yeah.
could be translated in that kind of sexual energy where it comes off as infatuation.
Yeah.
But it's always affection. You could make love and call it fucking. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
There's a level of affection that gets
It's
that can
the
get that way.
affection. It's the affection, and it's
So I'm
how
trying to figure out who I
do you
need to
feel
be.
about that person. That's what I'm saying.
I need to figure out who I need to be to get that level of energy from a woman. Cause that's what I want to foster. That's what I want to create in a person. Like how she feels about me. Because
You said you're a lot of energy. You ever hear the saying? You ever hear the phrase? Some people stay longer in 30 minutes than other people stay in a week.
nah. I mean, I kind of understand that.
I
Expound on
mean,
it.
some people are a lot to deal with. Some people are a lot to deal with. Some people
This is me.
Some people you can have a conversation with and they can sap you of your energy and do in 30 minutes time what another person could do in a week. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just so much. They got so much going on. They come into a room
Is
with
that
so much baggage or so much
well? Wait. Is that how you
happening.
know
You know what I'm saying?
that
Like
your
some people
relationship?
come into a room with action, like shit just happening around them. And it's like, yo, fuck, man, yo, get the fuck away from me. Cause every time you come around, shit starts happening, bro. Like, get the fuck out of
I
right now.
feel like
to happen.
I
You know
feel
what I'm
like
saying?
before I go into my feeling on that, is there a way that you can say that that's how you know your relationship will stand the test of time through your growth, through your unpacking space?
Well, yeah, I mean, because I personify that statement too. I personify that quote as well. Like I know initially, especially initially, yeah, man, like my 30-minute stays were exhausting. Like I can only imagine what a week with me must have felt like before she chipped away at the layers that she has. Because it was probably like mad times asking yourself, like, why even bother?
You know what I learned? I learned that every woman I've been with has had to write me letters to talk to me.
Yeah, well,
That shit. When I started to actually realize what that meant,
now when you say it like that, it makes me ask. The initial question is like, how many letters have you
they
had
have to
written?
write. No,
And-
this is when it gets real and
And what I'm saying is, when I say it like that, I'm saying it kind of like with a comedic overtone. But I'm saying like, if one woman writes you a letter,
I'm clearly the problem.
You should take
No.
heed to it.
I
But
understood
if
it.
4 or 5 women have to communicate.
I
with you
understand
like
it in
over
this space.
time-
That's why God got me in this space, bro. Because I'm starting to pay attention to everything, bro.
Well, no, God just got you in a room with me so you could listen and I could teach you how to do the shit right.
Yo, Greg got the answers. He got all the answers.
And I got all the answers because I've asked a lot of questions. I got more questions than I got
Well,
answers. 'Cause
it's not so much that I need the answers. It's I understand it now, but I've started to realize, like, yo,
you're starting to notice.
like, yo, why am I so much? Like, I don't know why I'm so much. I just am, right? And then when I started to realize that statement alone is what I try and stay away from now. This is who I am. I've always been this way. Because like when you change levels in life, when you start to expand, when your relationship matures from a condo to a house, when your relationship matures from 2 cars to 4, whatever the case may be, you can't be the same person you always been in those new experiences. Like you said, you can't bring an old energy of a person that you were in the last thing and the thing before that and something new. So a lot of times when people own, yo, that's just who I am, yo, the people preface that, they don't want the responsibility of having to change.
Listen, a couple things. First of owning who you are is not the same as not being able to admit to yourself that there are some things you could do differently and you can do better and you can change.
Yeah, but sometimes when you do that, you dismiss that opportunity.
No,
right or
just
wrong.
just hear me out. Just hear me out, because what you're saying is I do agree, but at the same time, I think that as things mature and as things grow, when they're healthy, they only do that because of a certain purity that existed from the very beginning.
True.
So while your relationship grows from a condo to a house, that foundation, like who you are essentially, has to stay. Not that you think condo still, or your mind is still in the level of a condo.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But you have to be able to come back to that, because here's what's going to happen. If you have a relationship that grows from a condo to a house, and then from a house to a fucking mansion, from 1 car to 3 to 5, what happens when there's no more mansion, no more cars? Is it no more relationship?
No.
You got to go back to what started, what brought it all there to begin with.
Yeah, see, you're finessing that whole concept.
Because those things are not supposed to. Because listen, when the DNA don't change, the DNA don't change.
That's not true.
It's just the people.
That is not true.
The actions change.
No.
Who you are.
We evolve.
Essentially is the same.
No, I disagree. I want to know why I say that. Every moment you step into that's different from what you've always experienced gets to let you see a version of yourself that you never knew.
Yeah, but who you are intrinsically at the core.
Yeah, but
who you are at your core. Like, for instance,
that's a figurative statement. Well, I'm talking about like how we evolve into.
Just to bring the conversation back to full circle, who you are at your core. In those who you see who you are in those moments when you're thrust into doing something, that the choice is it's now. You make the choice now. Who you are at your core is, I'm the person at my core who's not going to let a man and his wife sleep outside with their child. At my core, that's who I am. No hesitation.
Granted.
So what I'm saying is, who you are at your core should never change. Yes, you'll add things. You'll add layers.
Yeah, but that's all I'm referring to.
But who you are at your core should never change.
No, I'm not referring to changing. I'm referring to evolving. I'm referring to not. So there's nothing removed from it. There's only things that like evolve, mature. Like literally everything that you experienced.
Right.
If you are now the same and the cycle continues, you are not going to get a new response from anything because you don't have nothing new going on. Like I always tell people, what's happening right now with us. We are going through a whirlwind of experiences, of learning curves, of like understanding things that we never had to understand before,
because we're
having to become stuff
in an area we've never.
And it's like we're pushing ourselves into that evolving space. And the more we do this, the more we do anything, we're going to create a DNA about ourselves that either is going to evolve or crack. You feel me?
I do feel you.
That core, the core
different. That's why.
So the core, I agree with.
That's why there was clarification necessary, because I agree with you, but I would word it differently. But I do understand what you're saying.
I hope so, because I only speak to be understood. I don't speak to be heard and hope to be understood.
I hope that's.
Well, I will not have this. I will not stop having the conversation.
Talk to me, and it feels like you're speaking to hear yourself talk.
That's because you don't like what I'm always saying, but I always want you to understand me.
Facts.
I don't try not to
I think
help
that
you
if I
understand.
didn't understand you, I'll bring it to you like I do. I mean, I make sure I understand you because you're not always easy to understand because you got a lot of moving parts. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
you got a lot of shit going
So
on. So
that is what I've been dealing with in my
yeah, I
relationships.
know. Trust me.
So, but see, I don't. My mom told me something. She said there's something about you that makes you great. You talk a lot and you think a lot. And though that gets you in trouble, though that is the thing that people have a problem with, it's also the thing that makes you special. I just need to learn how to
Harness it.
And I feel like sometimes I don't want to do it anymore because I deal with so much from it that it doesn't feel special. But then I'm in a lot of places I've never been because of it. I'm doing a lot of things I've never done because of it, but I'm just trying to figure it out. And I think it's really just maturity. Like I've learned, like the other day, I've learned that men and women hold themselves accountable in relationships differently.
100%.
But I never liked it, right? So I always fought for the accountability to be the same. I thought it was like no. So now I manned up. Now it's time your turn. Like you need to own your shit right here, right now, so we can get past this.
Yeah.
And women don't fucking do that.
Not all the time. That's hardly ever the case.
Ever. So they do it in their little, like they'll cook for you. They'll do shit where they'll own their stuff by being a better woman in places where they will normally be a better woman, but like they'll be softer. They just don't say, you know what, honey, I was wrong.
But it has to.
I was wrong when I said, and if they do, it's like a week later or like a couple of days later, and it's like, and then they rope you into their accountability.
I'm not even mad anymore. The apology would have been something if I
right. It would have meant something. I would.
If I'm not angry, I don't even.
But us, if we don't get in that accountability bag quick, if we don't own our stuff as men quick,
standard.
No. But I started to learn. Like my level of accountability has nothing to do with yours. Mine has nothing to do with yours. Like you not holding yourself accountable in those moments don't mean I don't get to anymore. I used to think that if you're not going to be that person in this relationship, like it's like the consistency of a man is more important than the consistency of a woman.
I think that more goes into. I mean, you're right, but I think that what you haven't been a part of yet, just because you're a single guy now and you were married before, what you haven't been a part of yet is a relationship that transcends, like, for instance, my parents have been married, like, I keep saying they've been married 50 years, but I think I'm wrong. I think it's like 47 years.
They'll make it to 50.
Well, yeah, they're definitely, God willing, they'll make it to 50. But the point is, I think that at a certain point, you really, really buy into the fact that the only person you really have to concern yourself seeing you in a certain light is that other person. You know what I'm saying? Because once you buy into that, doesn't make every day easy, doesn't make every challenge insurmountable. What I'm saying is once you buy into that and you could take certain layers off.
Like literally become naked almost and be vulnerable.
Yeah, you have more leeway to grow. It's like I'm not all like academic savvy, but there's like a analogy that they use with, like, if you grow, like, take a fly.
Who's they? Oh, okay.
Like in schools and shit, like who's they? Say academic, and then I said they, so you assume schools. But like it's like some analogy,
Smart
like if you try to grow a plant in a place that it's like a low rising. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. This is the effects of marijuana, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joking. But
If
nah,
you have a plant outside and you try to grow it, the limits of their growth would be
yeah, it's
unsurmountable.
stunted. It's stunted. The
No,
growth is
it won't
stunted
be
when there's
stunted
a
outside, but if
when
it's
there's a
inside, it's
ceiling.
stunted.
You get what
I
I'm
understand.
saying?
I
Yeah, I
understand.
was rambling for a second,
It's cool.
but that's the
A lot going
premise.
on up there.
Yeah. Well, when you start to realize though that like you don't have to constantly try, and we always say this. I think on the show, it's like the second or third time that we mention like that recreation of self, constantly like recreating and reinventing and repositioning yourself to look a certain way to other people. I think once you learn that like all you got to worry about is that person that you come home to in the nighttime being infatuated with you. All you have to worry about that person like being accepting you for the choices you make and shit like that, then you'll start to find yourself in a lot easier go of it in terms of relationships
I agree. I think
because every we all put up in defenses though. Trust me, because if my wife would like you, I mean, you know my wife, so you know like she's a tough woman, but she's also had to deal with a lot with the things I've gone through.
yeah.
So like you know that being as vulnerable as you can and allowing yourself to be that vulnerable with somebody. You know what I'm saying? And then still being able to know that that person still looks at you with the same respect, the same fucking
It's a
infatuation,
rarity
like you
now
say,
though. It's a
affection.
rarity now
It's
though.
dope.
It's a rarity though.
Oh yeah, they don't
Like,
exist
let me
like
let
that.
me let me let me spit it to you this way. You know, when I
Women
was with
gotta
my
have
ex,
values. They gotta come from somewhere. That's the thing.
true. I mean, but see, the thing is, I'm the man I'm becoming is based off all the bad experiences, all the people that have come in and exposed the cracks for me to understand what to fix.
Right, learning.
So, you know, my value has probably always been there because I didn't have a bad foundation where I was raised. I wasn't conditioned to take on all the things that I wasn't using all the values correctly.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And I was growing in my immaturity more than anything else. So I was sticking to it like as
sticking to
time,
your guns,
yeah, as
doubling
right.
down,
Like I tell people all the
being an
time
asshole just for the sake of being an
when
asshole.
people say I'm the type of person, and it's like, you're gonna change if you need to change. Don't stick to that type of person. Like, cause like I can no longer be that guy anymore that says that anymore because I've actually had to change a lot about myself.
Yeah.
So now I no longer own I'm the type of person because I'm not. I'm not. I used to be the type of person that did this. And now, because I'm on this stage, because I have employees, because I have responsibilities, because I want to see myself a certain way, because I want certain type of woman, a certain type of connection, I can no longer see myself that way I used to be.
Right, right.
I am saying, and
Constantly evolving. That's what you were getting.
yeah,
Before.
and I think, you know,
But when you find somebody that aligns with that, y'all gonna evolve together. Even if it's at separate times, like like locations. You know what I'm saying? Like if you come into something that becomes an opportunity, like it should be nothing for you to present that to them, and then they just pick up on that momentum, and it just kind of
yeah, but I wonder
naturally go like that.
why us men, even though I'm taking a little longer than I thought, because like the surrendering part is becoming, and I'm acknowledging how hard it is. But why do we wait so long to do this man shit? Like we in our 30s, bro. And
Yeah,
we could have honest,
you
like to
always
keep it
think
a stack with yourself.
you always think you're missing out. It's that fear of missing out. It's that FOMO
Okay.
shit. It's that
I
FOMO.
also think one of the biggest human issues is, and like the problems that we have as men and people in general, we don't like to take care of our problems. Like we don't like to handle our shit.
No, it's easier not to handle it. It's easier to push it aside and act like it didn't happen, or let sometimes time. You know, sometimes if you ignore things long enough, you think they go away. You know what I'm saying? You ignore them long enough, you feel like you don't even have them anymore.
I think that's why people also own their behaviors so they don't have to change. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this is who I am. And
Yeah, if you could double down on being a jerk,
like you don't
double
gotta
down
handle
on
the
it.
bullshit.
Like, I ain't gotta worry about how you
and
feel because I'm a jerk. This
like,
is how
and
it
that's
is.
exactly how I was growing up. That's exactly how, and for too
Yeah.
long,
I'm
it was.
glad you broke out of that.
But it was so much to unlearn because I have reflexes on shit. Like we both have reflexes.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
that
I'm the last born, so I got a lot of like spoiled tendencies too. Like, you know, I'm Clarence. You know, I'm the last born in the suburbs in Bergen County. You feel me? So I'm Clarence. Like, I'm used to getting things that I want. You feel me? And I'm used to putting myself in a position that might be even to my detriment to get what the fuck I want. So that spoiled mentality is, you know, it's not exactly what you're talking about, but it's part of it though. That's part of that, those qualities and those immatures you double down, those immature behaviors you double down on. And doubling down on things you know are to your detriment just to be rebellious in the like in taking advice from somebody else or seeing what somebody else can offer to help you grow, like doubling down in those moments.
I think it's also letting go of things because I feel like a lot of my situations, my relationships are birthed off of convenience and proximity or chemistry, and I they kind of always like are destined to destruct because
Well, if they only come about because of those things, then the foundation.
because I don't know that
strong.
you can get meaningful connections when you're not physically present for the idea of growth, the idea of
What do you mean?
well, because sometimes when you're just looking for someone that could get there, is around the corner, and always answer their phone. Like if it's that much, if it's that little that matters to be able to have it, then that's not a real connection. That's that's what proximity is. That's what the level of chemistry is. To that is like, and I think I need to let go of those because like I got access to a lot of that.
Yeah, so what do you want? Some like love story?
No,
like
no, because no, but let's be real. You stop playing like, don't play with me.
I'm just
because you know what proximity can do to you.
No, but
you know what like having the ease of responding to someone in your son. That's what I mean by proximity. Like
this is.
I'm saying I need to let go of that,
allowing that proximity to exist,
like allowing those levels of chemistry to kind of like break through, and then distracting myself with it, with the thought that it's going to grow into something. Because one, I don't be ready. And when someone got you questioning whether you should be ready, like, because like every time I tell you I'm talking to somebody, you like, you know, maybe, and I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not feeling that. I know you hearing that, but I'm not feeling that.
I get it.
And that's because of the ways I'm operating. And honestly, I don't want a love story. I know what you say. I don't know what I don't want nothing. I just want to stop. I want to let go of whatever is happening consistently the same way. Like I've been.
You do want something, but that's the way you want to word what you want. You do want something because in that process of growing into the man that you say you want to become, there's certain things that version of a man accumulates along the way.
Right.
And I'm not talking baggage now. Now I'm talking about, well, we've used this as, you know, for the premise of the show, but I'm talking about the relationships you accumulate and the bonds you build.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you do want something. You do want those lasting bonds. But what I noticed with you as my friend is that your reluctance to let go of that mentality that you kind of adapted as a kid, as far as needing things to be the way you need them, like always, like it gotta be the way you need them, otherwise you find something wrong with it, so it can't be anything. Like you have to create a tolerance level and a learning and allow people to have a curve to get to learn you, to get to learn your likes and dislikes, and then you could try to build on that. Like, you can't cast a level of expectation onto a person. Not saying that you do this that's intentionally or that it's a wide expectation, but just an expectation nonetheless. And then when they don't live up to it, you're like, I can't fuck with this chick because because she
So you
just
saying
don't
I'm
get
a
it.
picky dude?
It's about pickiness, but it's also about, I don't know if it's so much being picky or being indecisive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Call me.
I
I hear what
don't-
you're saying.
It's just.
No, I am decisive. I think when I make a decision to not like something about somebody, that's a decision. I decide that. All right, so I understand.
It's not how it works, but I understand what you're saying.
You know why I think this is funny?
I get it.
Because you finally decided. You know what your bar looks like. You're with that.
Yeah. Well,
But when you were making the decisions to float around and not make any decisions on anybody, but you was chilling, it's because you found something that you ain't like, or you knew who you were and you ain't want to be what they wanted in that situation.
Well, yeah. In your defense, I will say this, and I don't know these people that you deal with.
Thank you.
But when value shows itself, it shows itself.
Right.
And if it don't have, and what you're dealing with,
well, I'm not gonna say, because now you're gonna put me in a position that
I ain't saying
I'm not
that
devaluing anybody. What I'll say is, I'm not. I do feel like I'm not where I need to be, so I'm meeting people that are
not where they need to be, or not where you need them to be.
Yeah, they're not
where you need them to be.
Did she level you up? Did wifey level you up?
100%.
All right. I don't know if I've ran into someone that makes me feel like I can feel that way. And if I did, there was something either missing or they were going somewhere one way and I was going another.
But this is what we just spoke about in using the example that I gave you before, is that you never know what your purpose. Your purpose might not be like for instance, my wifey's purpose, one of her purposes might have been to fall in love with me and level me up. But your purpose might be to fall in love with somebody else and you level them.
I've been doing that for years. I'm not doing it anymore.
You think you have.
Yeah, no,
you have. But
all right, so we're not doing that, because the immature version of me would run down a list of things I was able to do for the people I've been with, the list of things I was able to be for the people I've been with. And I got something from those relationships. I got a lot, but it was never what I thought until I got mature enough. It was never, I felt like I never got anything until I got older and I realized they helped me find out who I was. Yeah. They taught me a lot about myself. They taught me that I needed to grow up. They taught me that I needed to mature. They taught me the most valuable thing that honestly I could probably take from somebody. Because I usually don't take money. I don't take things that, like, I'm not a sucker nigga. Yeah. So like I'm the guy that technically is going to teach in the relationship. I might not have ever been the breadwinner, but I've always moved like I was. Because I provided more than money. I provided access. I provided skills. I provided opportunities. I was the guy that had more to offer in relationship than just money. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I found my value was exceeding the value I was getting.
Yeah, but you, unfortunately though, you're entering into these relationships in a time, in an era of people, and I ain't even gonna say, I'm just saying people, and it's not about you personally or the females personally. We're just entering into these things in an era where those things matter. And
oh, that's a fact.
And not only they matter, but I'm gonna say that, and I'm being extreme because it takes a certain type of female to see the value in a man if he's not the breadwinner in a household. It takes a certain type of female to say,
well, for me, it was It was always
man brings all this to the table, even though I make more money than him. You know what I'm saying? That is.
Well, it was it's a yet thing. Because I've what I also realize about myself is I'm ever evolving. I'm ever growing. I could hit rock bottom tomorrow and then surpass the last.
And then you bounce back up.
Yeah, but so like I don't know. I honestly, because I know what God is going to give me when I'm ready for it. Money's not going to be the issue in my relationships. It's going to be the things that I'm dealing with now, like the character, the communication,
but I
the
think
emotional intelligence, the ability to connect on levels where I understand women better and I don't respond to things incorrectly.
I
all
will
the
say
time.
this: if you manage to go from being the single guy that I know right now to being in a relationship, and I know this is predicated on, you know, success and putting work in and stuff like that. But if you find yourself in a relationship at any point in time during the time that we know each other, and money is a non-factor in that relationship, please write a book. And please allow me to be the only person that reads it so I can have the secret. Because money is always going to be a factor.
You want to know why I don't think money is the factor for what I'm looking for what I think I can have. Because I'm not intimidated by anything like anyone has.
Yeah, but
No,
based on
meaning
everything that
men.
you
So you know,
say, based on everything you say, because of that constant evolution that you're on, you can't really foresee where you would be when you do touch that.
true.
So you might touch that money and things like money still might become an issue.
All right, so
You know what I'm
then,
saying, like, understand, it might not be what you think it will be.
all right. Well, I want to hope that money is the last on the list.
If you make that happen, I need that book. Because I foresee myself making a lot of money in my lifetime. But I also know that with the way that I grow in maturity, the way that I grow in taste, the way that I grow in luxury, the way I grow in experience, the way I grow in, you know, everything, it's gonna mature. I'm gonna want to expound. I'm gonna want to expand. I'm gonna want to see different parts of the world. Like, my wife opened my eyes to
So when I say money's not going to be the issue,
but it becomes an issue.
No, what I want to make sure of is that money is not the issue. I feel like I was always the one that was insecure about money, and I operated a certain way with response to things, and like, you know how it go when we
things like material things, you mean?
no,
Or bills and shit.
nah, when shit get real,
Oh yeah.
and like, like arguments are different.
Yeah.
Because you now in a different bag out of nowhere, because your wifey don't know what the freak is really going on, but you do.
Right.
And that's why I say if it's right.
Well.
That's why. Come on, like, because when it's just right, like, we know how to handle everything else. But when the money wrong, everything just feel like a fight. Like, I want to hit something. I want to punch something. I want to pick something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I.
So when that is not the issue, I'm saying.
But as we grow and our taste grows, it's gonna still be the issue.
Well, I think that this phase I'm going through has taught me how to deal with, like, my luxury issues. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like creating a little bit of a sustainable.
That's a learning experience that is dope, and that's probably second to none, because having a handle of that, overextending, living within a certain means,
say couldn't be me, and I'm like, yo, bro. I mean, because I know you do it if you had to.
What, like take the train and all that shit? No, I'm out. I'm not doing that shit. I know exactly what you're referring to.
Greg's above public transportation.
I'm not above it. Listen, man. Like,
mind you, I'm the luxurious, like, I need it all guy, but this dude, he has ways of, like, I'm not doing it.
I'm not. There's certain things, like, I mean, I'm just not, like, I'll never want to get used to certain things. You know the reason.
So that's one thing I've realized. I don't get used to my struggle. I sit in it to understand it. I sit in it to study.
Well, I sat in a struggle long enough to understand.
Respectfully, I'll give you that one.
I sat in
I'll give you that one.
long enough to understand that if I want to get up and move, there's a value there that too many people don't understand.
I'll give you that one.
You know,
we'll expound on that one day. I'll let that ride. I'll let that ride. But I will say that a lot of the things that I've learned about the cornerstones of the relationships, like when I was telling you how women and men hold each other accountable
in different ways.
We communicate differently. I had to start responding with less expectation of not less expectation, taking it personal. I think a lot of men act like, I think that's what makes us the most emotional out of all the things that like, we talk about when we deal with emotions. We take when it comes to the people we love, we bang with hard body, like the woman we love. A lot of this stuff that she'll do or not do, we take personally.
Facts.
And when we
Facts.
take it personally,
Facts.
when we take that thing personally,
more of a.
It's almost like I don't know if I'm talking to my shorty or a stranger outside. And it's like you turn into like someone like you're trying to see the woman you love. You're trying to see the woman you love, but you just did some out of pocket ish. And then you turn into someone you shouldn't. And now that has to be addressed before the shit she did.
You know what?
You know what I'm saying? Like now we gotta talk about how I handled this.
Oh, because
outside of,
and I say that all the time. Don't I tell you that all the time?
It's like we fuck up our chances to address the shit that actually happens by creating more shit.
I say that not just to you. I say that to every male I know. And it's easier to say it than to stop myself from living that reality.
Trust me. I remember one time you called me in the middle of something like that.
I say it all the time. It's not that you are wrong to start. It's what you do in response
always
that makes you wrong. And it overshadows what happened.
Exactly. And then it's like, because now we got to talk about everything you just did. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to have this problem again because we never really handled the shit that got us here. And you're going to have to learn how to not to overreact again. Yep. You're going to have to learn how to not like act out of pocket and take it personal. Again, I think what I've started to learn is
the thing is what it does.
I'm not taking it personal.
What it does is it exposes. And you asked me a question earlier in the segment about how I know my relationship is built to last, and I think that exposure that comes in those moments right there, like when you spaz in a situation, it comes with the person on the receiving end of that understanding that you are spazzing, but you're not even responding to what they did. You're spazzing based on some shit that you're traumatized and you haven't dealt with.
Triggered.
And you ain't even addressing me no more. And when that person exists in your life and they can understand that, but then help you, then make you realize that some shit is wrong.
Not everyone's patient enough to go through it all the time.
No, but that's what I'm saying. And I think women that have that patience exist.
Respectfully,
they do.
All the good ones exist, but some men forget to change every time a little bit to help them understand that their patience is necessary.
100%.
Because sometimes you are going to wear their patience the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, dude, why can't you see this love and adjust every time?
People would in a week.
So what I've learned about, like, 100%. So there was a time, this had to be a year ago, when you called me and we was on a ride and it led to tears. Cause you were so angry, and I was like, cause you were like so transparent about something. Yeah. And it was like I blew up, and like I don't even know why I blew up. I don't even know why I got mad, cause it wasn't even like I was wrong. Yeah. But now we gotta deal with me and that shit.
And I'm wrong now because I done broke.
And on top of that, you was kind of worried about your relationship, and that's when I said, bro, first of all, I've been there.
Because you don't know how much of the acting the fool shit your relationship could withstand.
Right. So I said, but bro, I'm going to say right now, the conversation we're having, it means that who she's going to wait for, if she waits for you, is worth it. Because we were able to talk about something that men usually avoid having a conversation about. We actually either ignore the reality that we OD'd, or we just come in and it's like we do the passive like accountability thing too. Like, yo, babe, I was whatever. You know what I mean? We come in with the bullshit and we hope it just kind of like easy.
You don't always have to give me flowers just to apologize. Like it's just, that's a passive.
You could just, a changed behavior is a better apology than anything in the world. And I think that you opening up to me, and then it made me realize, yo, I'm really not the only idiot in this world, bro. Like when you did that, I was like, oh, son, I feel so good that I could talk to you about this. Because I felt
most niggas we
but that conversation we had, you don't have it.
You wouldn't have it with another. Yeah, fact.
So like now when you tell me this, I'm like, all right, first of all, before I can like help you see that, yo, you good. This is a stage where you're gonna change. It's just gonna take you like being in the moment now, like actually starting to realize, yo,
For lack of a better phrase,
just
for lack,
breathe, like listen and breathe, listen and breathe.
for lack of a better phrase, it's like I'm saying misery loves company, but it's like you in those moments when you're miserable, you kind of take comfort in the fact that you know like somebody else can identify.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah, 'cause
not
I done messed up.
I'm not fucking like I'm bugging, but someone can see or hear my point
And
at
totally
an audible
relate.
at an audible volume and disregard the show I'm putting on with the fucking yelling and the sweating and the screaming and breaking shit, and they could see and hear me at a level not for what I'm displaying, but for what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, you got a good thing because of that. Because I'm gonna tell you, bro, I didn't always get a patient version of a woman. And I don't know if it was because I was picking the wrong woman or I was just that bad of a guy. You know what I'm saying? So when you were telling me that, I started to understand a lot more about how I was doing that. You always know we're doing it, but it's like, how do you handle it? Do you want to change? Do you want to not take things
Have
personal?
you ever questioned what about your presentation attracts a woman to you?
The same thing that makes them want to leave me.
Nah, well, I'm
keeping it a stack. It's the same thing for you too, probably.
Nah, well, I never actually said those words as a question in my mind. But now hearing you talk and hearing you say this from the perspective,
because I could get them
from a perspective
but
of
for some reason I can't keep them.
Well, this is the thing. And I asked that question for that reason because I know that answer. The things that attract these people to you are all surface level.
Nah.
Well, no, I'm not.
All right.
I'm not saying.
I won't say. I will argue differently.
Let me cut you off and say. Let me cut you off and say maybe not you, but I also speak from experience. So when people are only attracted to you surface level, then understand that they're only willing to put up with surface
I'll respect
level
that.
shit.
Because that was where you went with it. I respect that.
Because
yeah, I agree.
It's like, damn, she got abs and shit like that, but I ain't here for the, for the night terrors and for the fucking trauma. I'm not dealing with that because I like to get 8 hours of sleep. Like some people always have that exit route and that ejector seat ready. You know what I'm saying? Because surface level.
So how do you know when you're dealing with someone like that? Because honestly, I feel like
it reveals itself. Yeah,
nigga, I got married to someone that didn't love me, bro. Like she liked me on the surface.
Like the idea of
but then when she realized she had to do too much to be with me, she ain't like that. Cause like I was a lot, and she wanted simple.
Yeah.
But I also realized I didn't like her either.
Yeah, but you would start to resent that. I mean, that
I ain't like her either. So now I'm starting to realize this is why like I was just doing a lot of the wrong picking. The last one I was dealing with was 1 foot in, 1 foot out all the time.
Right.
Because surface level.
Yeah.
Surface level. She was jacking me.
Yeah, surface.
But I have a side of me that makes people confused about whether they should stay or leave. I believe I know that my value runs deep.
Let me tell you something.
But when you come in, not wanting to tolerate certain shit,
there's not a doubt in my mind that you're definitely not short on the theatrics when you're dealing with them. Like
I wouldn't say theatrics. I'm talking about we're talking about I'm sapiosexually nice with it, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the phrase theatrics. I'm gonna use the term theatrics.
All right,
because I know you.
I don't know what you mean.
And that's not it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I should feel insulted.
I'm gonna use your words. You're much. You're a bit much.
A bit much.
You're a bit much.
Because I said that I have to own that and be okay with that.
But that's not a bad thing, bro. You're an eccentric individual. You
That
have
that is extreme to say about
eccentric is
me,
not
eccentric,
bad.
because I know eccentric people and I'm not
But you're
eccentric.
eccentric in comparison to some because you're eccentric in comparison to me.
Okay, that may be true.
Okay,
But then there's levels of
but
you.
I can only speak from the perspective that I stand in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll acknowledge that and accept that
You know what I'm saying?
as
So
your version of what you would.
so what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, I say theatrics because I know where a man's mind is when he's already checked himself out of an interaction with a woman. I already know where a man's mind is when he's not invested. He's already checked himself out. So now the version that person gets of you is the version that you now create on the fly, because I was that guy too. So like, if I'm not feeling somebody,
Okay,
I'm just
all right. Now when you say, I get what you're
that's
saying.
you know what I'm saying.
All
So
right.
you just created, so it's just surface up because you're constantly creating what you know they want to see.
Because I'm not really
Because
checking
you
for
don't
them.
really give a fuck about, because if you gave a fuck about them, or you gave a fuck about
You
them
wouldn't
giving
jack
a
with
fuck
them.
about you, you would be like, yo, this is who I am. And right now, I'm fucked up and I'm hurt. And this is why. You know what I'm saying? But
No, I've been
9 out of 10,
I've been
9
low
out of
key
10 niggas
doing
ain't willing
that.
to do that.
I've been low key doing that, which is why I'm not getting into nothing.
But are you low key doing it because you're actually jacking somebody's company, or are you low key doing that because you're just throwing casting a fishing line out to see?
Nah, it's more
who's
so
authentic enough to bite and who's
not really. It's more so I don't have to do nothing sincere. So I can be like, yo, listen, I ain't really ready for nothing real. I got this going on. I got that going on.
Hey,
That's the
you know,
story I'm actually
yeah,
telling,
you
which is
know.
not a story. It's the truth. I think that's like, and I
selling
like,
wolf tickets.
no, what? So funny story, because we gotta wrap this shit up.
We do, but
no. Shorty hit me up and said, I went on a date with one girl, and I was insensitive enough to bring up the fact that I went on a date with another girl in a conversation based on an analogy. And she was like, so if you're dating, then you're just not into me. And I'm like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah,
I mean,
hearing
well,
you describe this, I'm like, yo, I know why my nigga's single. Like hearing
whoa,
you
whoa,
say
whoa, whoa.
things
But
like that,
I'm
like, yo,
hold on.
how can you say
I
that?
am trying to be single. I'm not trying to, like, I'm dating because it's hard to explain this, but I haven't given up. No, I haven't given up the idea of just being in solitude. So I'm just like, when I could go out. When I could go out, I go out. I go on dates. I'm not dating with any intent. I'm dating for the reasons men date, bro. Like,
I understand.
and don't play like I don't feel like I gotta explain this like in a way that.
No, you don't.
So women understand. Like they'll be confused, but you don't need to be confused.
Listen what I'm saying. And this, you see, all right. So maybe I shouldn't say what I'm saying. Cause I feel like I'm about to be Usher right now in that Confessions album. I feel like every man in the world felt like slapping Usher in the face for that album, because it's like, bro, you ain't supposed to be revealing the game like that. But
wait. So in my defense, I put her in the friend space anyway when I was talking to her. And actually, that's kind of how I was being insensitive because I didn't realize I was like making her feel away, but I was also not caring about how I talked about anything. Because I wasn't checking for her like that. And it wasn't because she wasn't my type. I'm just not checking for nobody like that. I'm at that space where and when I get in that bag, I forget that person that I used to be just starts to say things and do things that don't think about the other person.
Hear me out. And this is why, because you and I talk on so many, on a different level. You know what I'm saying? We talk and we really be honest with each other, right? And I'm going to just say it to you like this. If you're dating without the intention of getting into a serious, I'm being serious, and I'm learning that. I'm just telling you this from experience, and because I'm in a serious, long-lasting, lifetime relationship now, I'm telling you something very, very serious to take with you.
Okay.
And that is this: if you're dating with no intention of seeing something grow into a relationship, then don't give every female you deal with the boyfriend experience. Like, I know you, and I know the way you speak about yourself, and I know the way you edify yourself, and I know the way I know the places you want to go take someone to eat, and the way you want to present yourself when you pull up in your Porsche. Like, when you do that, you create a picture for this woman, and she's like, wow, I could see myself with this guy. This guy has it together. This guy's like this. This guy's like that. And you're just pump faking. And that makes you the asshole at the end of the day, no matter how you break it down. That's
You're
why
right.
you're always confused. Like, damn, why does Shorty think I'm an asshole? Because you've been an asshole. Because I'm going to tell you what.
Yo, you
My
are
nigga-
making
my
these
nigga- my
women
nigga-
feel
my nigga
validated.
wouldn't
So
even be mad
my-
about me mention his name. You know, usually I wouldn't mention a nigga's name, but my man Gino wouldn't even be mad at me mentioning his name because Gino's in a space much like you're in life, but Gino just takes a completely different approach.
Because he doesn't mind being an
Gino
asshole.
will tell you straight from the gate, oh, what? You wasn't planning on fucking? Oh, we're going to go Dutch. We're going Dutch. Okay, we're going to split the check. That's the way he's coming. Straight lace.
Not my
And I'm
not
not
my
saying,
speed.
and
But
I'm not
I get
saying,
it.
and I'm not saying that you should be so straightforward. What I'm saying is, if you enter in any interaction with an honest intent,
I tried
no
that.
matter what it is, you're gonna get an honest response. That's what I'm saying.
I get that.
That's
I appreciate the advice. It's not like I haven't
'Cause you
heard the
pump
damn
fake,
advice before.
Because if you pump fake, you're gonna keep getting, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna keep drawing a foul.
So what I
It's a
think,
sports analogy, but it
but
works.
like back to, I think it was what fucking second episode or something. I'm just trying to figure out how to stay in solitude. It's just not easy, bro. It's not easy. Like I work all day. I'm outside all day. It's
not easy. It's not easy.
yeah. Don't try and speak
But-
from a space of experience. Please don't play
But
play that game.
Nah, I don't want it. What I'm saying is, don't. Because I want to speak from a place of experience, but I'm not going to use the classic experience that I can use because that's not fair. That's not, forced solitude is not the same as
Yeah, we both know. That's
making
which
a
was what I'm
decision.
saying. Your experience
But what I'm saying is this though.
created the monster.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you are privy to the information and the experiences of other people. And you can see the benefits of self-control. You
You're
can
right.
see the benefits of discipline.
You're right.
And you can see the benefits
I'm
of
working on that.
surrounding yourself not just with positive energy, because not all negative energy that's not good for you is not positive. It's just not spurring anything to take you to the next level. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. If
Once
that makes
again,
sense.
Greg has helped me unpack my shit.
But we are unpacking my shit today. That's how this conversation
that's
is.
so-
My
that's
shit is unpacked.
Yeah, I enjoy this process.
I love it.
Yo, we gotta get some guests on here, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
gotta
have my
happen.
wife up here one day, and we're gonna tackle some
Oh,
things.
this is gonna be fun. Cause I'm gonna be like the moderator, so I can.
Oh, you could be like the moderator, but we could go on and on. I mean, we have a dope life. We have a dope life, and we're in an interracial relationship that navigates.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation. Man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great conversation.
So, yo, we appreciate you checking in on this episode with us. As always, it's a pleasure unpacking with you, for you. I'm hoping you're doing the same. That's the point. Find a way, find a person, find a space, safe space, and be real with yourself. Unpack. My name is Aaron Eason, aka Mr. Always Good, Never Bad.
And I'm Greg Figueroa, aka Felony Fit.
And never forget, always allow your actions to be guided by love, your thoughts to be rooted in peace, and your life to always mature in happiness. God bless.